So, about a year ago, after a short hiatus, I decided to come back and dip my feet back into the pools of LPing by doing a short adventure game for the 3DO called Doctor Hauzer. Now, thankfully, somebody had fan-translated the Japanese-only release, so I was able to enjoy it. But it did remind me that the developer, Riverhillsoft, was not a completely foreign developer to me. In fact, I had played one of their games back so very long ago when I was just a young child, I guess a preteen, a tween, if you will. And at the time, the game struck with me for a number of reasons, one of which was, really at the time I thought, man, this is a really cheap, horrible Resident Evil ripoff, and I don't see how this is any good. Now that I played Doctor Hauzer, I can appreciate it a bit more because, in all actuality, this game is pretty much a spiritual successor of sorts to Doctor Hauzer. It improves a lot on the formula, while also kind of falling into some of its original trappings, I suppose. But let's go ahead and get the game started. Some of you might know what it might be, especially from the title. Yeah, it is a PS1 title called Overblood. Now, I could let the opening cinematic play. Well, I am going to let the opening cinematic play, but there's a bit of a splash movie that gives away pretty much the entire plot. So we're not gonna watch that. Instead, we're just gonna go ahead and start.
What is this place? How did I get here? I can't remember. I can't remember myself. My gosh, I don't even know who I am.
So, we are given a whole lot in that opening cutscene. Sadly, we are not able to indulge in that too much, because we are in a bit of a cold storage area. In fact, it is so cold that, well, we are going to start slowly dying over time. Yeah, they kind of thrust you off into the deep end right off the bat. And hopefully you are good in high tense situations, because this game's going to have a lot of them. But the first thing we should probably look at is this computer here.
Power down. Function terminated.
Suppose that might explain why these cryo chambers might not be working anymore. I also get the feeling that means that some of these exits around the room might not work so well, so let's see if we can't figure out some way to maybe get some power going. Now, right off the bat, you'll notice that much like in the same vein as Resident Evil, we are kind of locked into almost a fixed third-person camera, so it can make things, make navigating a little bit difficult. But yeah, what we first want to do is go to the back of this panel here.
Auxiliary power device located underneath. Do not activate under normal conditions. Danger of overload and malfunction. For emergency use only.
So there's something of interest, but we are going to have to crouch down. The character is nice enough to remind us. Should probably look underneath, which is going to be a key puzzle-solving element throughout the game. So we do have a little bit of power now streaming through the room, which is definitely a plus, but it's still a bit too cold for us in our skin-tight jammies. But I think with some of the power going, we can maybe have a look at some of the doors around the outside of the room here. Let's see what this door... Oh, sweet. So this door would have been frozen had we not got the auxiliary power at least going a little bit. Yeah. So we need to get going. The good thing is that it's not going to be too long before we find something. There are a few items in here. First of which is something here on the ground. Also, you want to make sure, crouch down to get it. Hey, look at that! Found a nice little life preserver. Don't know how insulating it might be, but it'll at least be good enough to get us by for right now. So inside we find a memory chip from Mitomola? Who knows? I don't think it's a reference to one of the developers. I think it's just a generic sounding name. And yeah, pretty much I don't think there are any fake items like there was in Doctor Hauzer. I think pretty much every item that we find in this game will be of some use to us. Also, just gotta get familiar again with the controls. There we go. I had to find my inventory. But yeah, within the inventory we can find everything that we've found throughout the game so far. Not too much stuff, but it's nice that we get a nice look at the 3D model again. It's a bit difficult to say if this game improved that much on the graphics from Doctor Hauzer. It's definitely a different art style. It's a bit difficult to say if it's a bit too dark sometimes to really tell, especially on the character models. But yeah, since we've gotten, saved from freezing to death, we can get a bit more familiar with the controls. We've already seen the crouch, super useful. And as I kind of already accidentally saw, or did, our character has some sweet height. You can do a vertical leap. It's pretty good. And a forward leap. But yeah, something that was also a bit of a carryover from Doctor Hauzer that's probably not immediately evident unless you're just kind of futzing around with the controls, or if you made sure to read the instruction manual. But yeah, there are multiple camera angles. So we have a behind the shoulder as opposed to a higher up third person camera. And also, kind of unique, at least if you didn't play Doctor Hauzer, you do have a first person camera, which does allow you to take in some of the environments a little bit better, so you can get a closer view of these spacesuits. Though they are all frozen shut, I assume from being down here in the deep freeze. For the most part, though, first person is not super helpful just because it's taking into account the head bob that you would normally do doing other stuff. And yeah, it's a bit hard to get used to. But yeah, so was there anything in this? I don't believe so. It's already open. Oh no, there was something in here. So the voice recorder is an exceptionally useful item, because that is going to be our means of saving and loading throughout the game. So we can technically save whenever we want, which is super useful, because there are going to be a few instances in the game of kind of trial and error instant death traps, so you do want to be careful of that. And I figure since we are a bit safe, it probably wouldn't hurt to maybe do a quick save. I do like how it looks almost, I don't know, like an audio recorder, so I guess you're recording your memories. Almost brings to mind a horrible game, Enemy Zero. But this is nice enough to give us an indication of what floor we are on. It does kind of bring to mind one of the things we saw in the cutscene there. It looked like almost a map with 4 levels, and each one of those levels went deep red, and then everything kind of went to shit. Probably be learning about that soon enough. But before we do leave this room, there is one other thing of interest, and that's this little robot here in the corner. If we crouch, go into first person, we can see a little bit better of what that little thing is. Let's see if we can't take a closer peek at it. Yeah, small robot, small hole. Well, it just so happens we did manage to pick up something in this room already that might be of use in that. Especially considering it looks like the robot's powered down. Seems like it might be missing a very necessary part of its internal workings, which, yeah, it's this microchip.
What's the matter? Can't you talk? You understand me, don't you? Are you trying to say something? Is that all you can say? Beep? What's that supposed to mean? Yeah, beep beep to you too. You're a heck of a conversationalist. Oh, for crying out loud, don't be so sensitive. I know it's not your fault. Okay, whatever you say. Actually, I wouldn't mind the company. So, what am I supposed to call you? Peepo? Why not? Peepo it is. Well, it's nice to meet you, Peepo.
Say hello to our new best friend, Peepo. I assume we're going to have a lifelong companionship with this bizarre little Metal Gear-esque robot. And I want to say right off the bat, I appreciate the fact this game doesn't try to delve into the strange science fiction tropes you see every so often, where somehow a person is able to decipher the beeps and boops of robots or some mysterious alien language by just going, "Yeah, I totally agree, Chewie." It's like, well, no, you don't understand what this thing's saying. It's just beeping and booping at you. It could be very offended that you butchered its name down to Peepo. But it's still better to not be alone down here, especially considering that we have amnesia. We have no idea what we're doing down here, where we are, or just any number of things. But still, since we do have that auxiliary power now flowing into this room, and we're not going to immediately freeze to death in here, I guess that the computer in here might be a good source of information to figure out what we might have been doing down here. Let's check it out.
Auxiliary power activated. Functions restored.
I can't make heads or tails out of this thing. Why don't you try your hand at it?
So yeah, another new or unique feature of this game, a big, massive jump in puzzle possibilities and just general technology this game has as opposed to their earlier title of Doctor Hauzer. You can now switch between multiple characters, and for the most part, it can be damn well necessary to solve some puzzles. So all you need to do that, you kind of already saw as I was messing around with buttons, but it's just simple button push, and there you go. You're now under control of Peepo, and you can do kind of everything that our unnamed character can do. We still don't have a name for him. I'm sure we'll figure that out soon enough. But yeah, Peepo can do most of what our main character can do. He's obviously a bit limited in his jumping ability, but what he lacks there he can make up for in other ways, such as communicating with other pieces of technology.
Disengaging door locks. Displaying information on selected organism.
What do you know? Looks like I have a name after all. Raz Carsey.
Revival program has been changed due to state of emergency. Original setting for date and time of revival: eternity.
Eternity? They never meant to let me out. If it wasn't for this state of emergency, I'd have been in the deep freeze forever.
So, I'm not a computer whiz by any measure. I'm not even that great with math, but I don't know if there's really a commonplace setting in softwares or programs that just kind of give the eternity option. I don't really think computers understand, like, forever, or I don't know. But yeah, that always struck me as a bit weird that somebody... It's like if you set your microwave to eternity. Like, how long do you want to blow dry your hair? Eternally. It's like, well, that's not a thing, really. But, yeah, so someone decided to lock our protagonist here, Raz Carson, inside of the deep freeze. Still not sure why, but they must have had a good reason for sticking him down here. And there is always the possibility that he might have stuck himself down here just as a precautionary measure. It seems like something has gone awry in this facility, so... But yeah, now with Peepo's access to the computer, that means we can now get out of this room and we can start exploring. Now, it's a bit hard to tell just with the overall layout of the room. I think there are another 2 doors. Like, yeah, well, that's the door where I think we got our sweet jacket and robot pal. So, yeah, we got a door here, but is locked from the other side, so no going that way. Which pretty much means that the door that Peepo unlocked for us would be this comfortable door here. Also, super easy to miss, just a bit of background flavor. But if you wanted to know the temperature of the room, sure. I guess it's just a general reminder that things were a bit cold at the time. I mean, 0 degrees is still pretty cold even with a jacket on. Yeah, let's go ahead and head out and see what lies in store for us. Now, overall, the environment in this place is a little bit more shabby looking than Doctor Hauzer. He's obviously in a much larger state of disrepair than the mansion of Mr. Hauzer there. But it's a lot more, I guess, a larger scale. Let's see, how can we get up here? I think we gotta interact with it, maybe? No. Oh, but that does show that there's something down in the cracks there. That is too far back for our stubby human arms. Thankfully, we do have a robot assistant. Hey, cool. Got a key card. Sure, that will come in very handy. I feel like we should just be able to jump up. Yeah, the controls take a little bit of getting used to. Yeah, shut up, Peepo. There we go. Just had to find the exact right spot that wouldn't cause me to investigate the crack anymore. Even though I'm big on investigating cracks. But yeah, the overall scope and size of this game is definitely a lot larger than Doctor Hauzer. The facility, as we've already been able to tell, is 4 or 5 floors deep. And each floor houses its own somewhat unique look, but it's also an underground facility, so that there is some limitations to that. Still, it's pretty impressive in the sheer size of it. It's also nice to sometimes take in views from the non-cinematic angle. Because you can miss some things sometimes when you're working from just the third person. And I managed to turn myself around. I'm good at games. The good thing is, or the additional good thing is, I guess there's not that much in the way of loading times. There were some games on the PS1 just going from room to room would sometimes take a massively long time. Case in point, Resident Evil 1. A lot of those door opening and closing animations, it may not seem like a lot, but they would sometimes take 5 to 10 seconds, and if you were like, oops, I didn't mean to go into this room, and you had to turn back, it ended up being a lot of wasted time, just having to deal with loading screens and things like that. Yeah, people, I know you're excited, you're out of that room and you're alive again, but let's see, we got a few different ways to go. It's a little T intersection. Suppose we might as well start with the closest door first. Because as of right now, we don't have really a map or any concrete direction of where we want to go. We're still a bit hazy on absolutely everything outside of our kick-ass name. Now, let's see, what do we have here? Let's see, we got an up arrow and some gunk on the ground. Can we look at that? Doesn't look like we can investigate, but yeah, this is an elevator. Seems like a prime means to get off of this particular floor and further up through the facility. I don't think we want to stay here.
Looks like we're in some sort of sub-basement. I don't know which was worse, being frozen or being buried alive like this. People, why would anybody do this to me? Nowhere to go but up, and that's fine with me. Man, horrible way to die. What is that? A disease? I hope it's not contagious.